This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Here we are, guys. Part 2 of the Mailbag on the WWE Podcast. We are going to dive into all the emails that we didn't get to this past week. As you know, kind of a record-setting mailbag and submission from you guys, which is not a bad thing, but I got to break it up into 2 shows, and that's what we've done. So we're going to join you guys virtually, kind of spiritually, right, in just a minute. But first, I want to welcome you to the show. If you have joined us for the first time, I know there's a lot of new listeners over the last week or two because of the Rumble. Well, there's a great way to get rid of the ads that you hear, and that is through patreon.com/WWE podcast. For $1, it gets rid of all the ads. You can also join us on the Apple Podcast side of things, www.podcast.com, and on the Spreaker side of things. If you want to become a supporter, you can do that. What the supporter membership does for you is get the exclusive After Dark show, which is also available on Patreon and Apple, but it is another way to support the show. If you want to become a supporter on Spreaker, that'd be a great way to say thanks. But let's get to all of those other emails that we didn't get to. And I think we still have some patrons lingering here in the mailbag. But I will just continue. And let's talk to Milan. And Milan says, "Hi there. I was at the Royal Rumble. Heard comments about how the crowd wasn't into it. The energy was there for the women's match, but the Fatal 4-Way sucked the energy out of the place. Everyone around me just shrugged their shoulders like, this crap again. Some even pointed them up their middle fingers. Everyone's so tired of Roman and how his matches go. People are also waiting for The Rock or some kind of big return at the Rumble, and it never happened. That also killed the vibe. Raw and Tampa was so much better and alive. My concern for Rock Roman is that both guys will only want to show up part-time, and this story could bleed out too long if they go to WrestleMania 41 and people lose interest. Plus, Dwayne Johnson's not getting any younger. I think if they wanted to do WrestleMania 40, something should have happened at the Rumble. I do think if it's Cody versus Roman, I can't see Cody winning 2 straight Rumbles and then losing 2 WrestleManias in a row to Roman. While I'm not a Cody fan, that would just be wrong. By the way, did Cody really get choked up on Raw talking about the Rumble? I almost vomited. Cheers. Yeah, I'm with you. I have to have like one of those air sick bags. You know, when you're on the airplane, you have the air sick bag in the pocket in front of you. I have to carry those religiously with me when I see a Cody promo or just see him in a suit or every time he smiles. I'm with you. I mean, those of you that are Cody fans are sitting here just tired of me complaining about it, but I mean, it's just how I feel about it. I'm not going to lie. So, a lot of questions and points here. Let's dive into this point by point. So, the fact that the Fatal 4-Way sucked the energy out of the Tampa, the Tropicana Field in Tampa, doesn't surprise me. Although it is really telling when people who are there live, not at home sitting on their couch in the comfort of their home, but they're live, who took the time and spent a lot of money to be there, and the parking and the just dealing with crowds of people and maybe having to bring your kids if you did, and the hotels for those that stayed, and all of the things that go with being at the live event, all the hassles, because there are, don't get me wrong, being at a live event's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of extra stuff you got to deal with. For people to be there and make all the efforts I just mentioned and still complain and feel bored is not a referendum on the fans. This is a referendum on the company's strategy for Roman Reigns. The overall strategy. This isn't just a formulaic match type and finish that we've seen for a few months or even the last year. That'd be bad enough. This has been multi-year, same finish to Roman Reigns' matches. People are bored and frustrated. And if you're getting people in the audience who attend one of the biggest events of the whole year for the company, audibly yawning at this main event, that should raise an alarm. That should sound an alarm bell for WWE. Like, we need to end this. So to your second point about Rock not being there, I agree. That was a bit surprising. You would think that if they're going to go from Rumble to Mania, which is not the longest period of time, it's only a few months, they'd want to build it as long as possible. And so it does make you wonder if this is actually going to be a WrestleMania 41 thing. It's very possible. Until Cody makes his decision, I don't know if we're going to know. I mean, I don't know if, like you said, I'd go to WrestleMania 41. They did it with John Cena and The Rock from WrestleMania 27 to 28, I think it was. It was either 26 to 27 or 27 to 28. I can't remember. But they had the year-long build. And I think generally it worked because they didn't promote it every week. I mean, they'd go, a month here, a couple months there, and then remind you. And maybe Rock would show up, and then they'd do it via satellite, or they'd throw video packages back at each other. You can string it out a year, believe it or not, because it's promoted lightly and just in a way that isn't overbearing. So they could do it. But also, that means that you have to keep Roman Reigns a heel for the next year. You can't experiment with perhaps him turning babyface, which I think is going to be very successful. So then you're locked into Roman as a heel for another year. I mean, I guess you could turn him babyface and back heel, but I wouldn't screw with that. When you turn him babyface, you got to do it for real. There's a lot of money to be had in that. So, and also, like you said, The Rock's not getting any younger. What if he decides to take on another movie? What if somebody gets injured training or something else tragic, right, in the ring? So, strike while the iron's hot. Why are we waiting? And I understand Cody. Well, Cody can go with Seth Rollins. Cody can win the title from Seth Rollins. I don't care. And I'm not advocating for a Rock-Roman title match. I have been an anti-Rock-Roman title match for literally years now. For many years, actually. I've been against a title being on the line with Rock-Roman. But if that's the road they're going to go, then we need to get the match done to get this out of the way and move on. Rock can go back to Hollywood, and Roman can go back to facing, whoever every 4 months and get to September, beat Hogan's record. Maybe that's where they're going. This is a fascinating WrestleMania season. It's a frustrating one, though, on top of it. I have said that this is a very, very unpredictable WrestleMania season, and it has been for a lot of reasons, including injuries nobody saw coming. But it also has been a very frustrating one as a fan, because it's one that you just want answers to. You're tired of thinking about, you're tired of battling with people about, well, Rock should be there. He's not going to be there. He will be there. They're not going to have the match. They will have the match. It's Cody. It's going to be a triple threat. Cody's going after Seth. Seth's not going to make it to WrestleMania. Seth's injured. Now, Punk's not there. Like, I just, as a fan, I'm already exhausted. And maybe you guys feel the same way too, or maybe you're exhausted because you're tired of me talking about it, which is understandable. But I am just exhausted from all the possibilities. It's usually fun to think about and fantasy book. That's what we do as fans. But I'm mentally just spent already on thinking about the different possibilities of who could face who, what could happen. I mean, what could happen is fine with me, but it's more of, I can't think about what could happen until I know what the matchups are. So it's, I don't know. I know I'm going off the rails here, guys, but that's my exhaustion of the possibilities. Is just, I'm ready to know. Just give me the damn card. Give me the sheet. Well, what are the matchups so we can move forward? But I also can't see Cody losing 2 WrestleManias in a row if they go that road either. I mean, imagine the fans. But we'll see what happens tonight on SmackDown. A huge SmackDown. Maybe Cody does make his decision tonight. Maybe he waits another week. Maybe he waits till Chamber. We'll see. But yeah, Cody, I mean, yeah, I'm done talking about Cody. Thanks, Milan. Let's talk to, Liam. Liam says, here's my Elimination Chamber fantasy booking. For the women's chamber match, Naomi, Becky, Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, and Zelina Vega, with Becky Lynch winning. 1-on-1, the Final Testament winner, The Final Testament versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, with the Final Testament winning. I got you. Okay. The Women's Tag Team Championship, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus the Kabuki Warriors, versus Caden Carter and Katana Chance, versus Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, with the winners being the Kabuki Warriors. I don't hate that either. The United States Championship Street Fight, Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul, with Logan Paul winning. I'm on board for everything so far. Liam, you are in lockstep with me right now. The Women's World Championship, Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley. The winner is Rhea Ripley. I couldn't agree more. I think there's a lot of truth to this, Liam. You are so far very logical. I can't dispute any of this. So let's continue. The Men's Elimination Chamber match, where the winner gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, which is exactly what I think will be on the line. Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Bronson Reed, Gunther, and Ivar. Now, Gunther, don't forget, though, apparently is not allowed to be overseas with his current visa. He's not allowed to fly international. So if that's the case, you got to take Gunther out and stick someone in, maybe Jey Uso. So there's that. But you have Bronson Reed winning. Wow. Okay, I have to disagree with you there. Or as the fans of, what is it, Office Space, for those of you that have seen Office Space, it's a 1990, late 90s kind of cult following movie that blew up. I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you there. Those of you that have seen the movie know, otherwise I'm just embarrassing myself. But Bronson Reed winning, no, I would say no, because he has been in such the back burner. I know he's trading wins with Ivar and he's made some nice progress, but there's no character development. Fans would be like, what? That is something I think that maybe a year from now we could talk about. But as it stands currently, I don't think there's any chance Bronson Reed gets that type of push, so to speak. But who do I think is going to win the chamber match if there is one? I mean, you could go back to Drew McIntyre. He is on fire right now as a heel. He had the best night of his entire career, I think, last week on Raw. Attacking Punk and then what he said to Punk about how he prayed for this. I mean, it was brilliant. So, also, who do you think will be returning soon in Sasha Banks, AJ Lee, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, and last, certainly not least, MJF? Thank you for all your efforts to give this entertainment and wrestling knowledge to us. Thank you, and your co-host. Well, you're welcome. I only charge $6.99 a minute for every minute you listen on the podcast. Believe it or not, I actually charge all of your debit cards behind the scenes. So thank you. But here's the deal with all these returns you're talking about: Sasha Banks, AJ Lee, Aleister Black. I don't think we're going to see Sasha Banks. I think she's kind of moved on. And honestly, I'm tired of the games with her. I'm tired of her posting things that I think she knows, is very aware that what she's putting up is just to stir up the pot and get herself some attention, but knowing that it's not true. I think she has done that over the last month, and it's kind of insufferable. I think Sasha Banks, and this is a hot take that I know a lot of you are going to hate, I don't think she is a must-have for WWE, and I think she thinks she's a bigger deal than she is. I feel like she has got a massive, massive ego, and to her defense, you kind of have to have an ego in the business, otherwise you're going to get shortchanged with your contracts, and you have to know your worth. I totally agree. But Sasha Banks, I think, has an overinflated overestimation of herself. And I think the women's division would be better with her, but they don't need her. See, that's the difference. Is she a needle mover in the women's division? Yeah, in the women's division. As a company, is she a needle mover? I actually don't think so. I know people are like, what are you, Sasha Banks? Yeah, she's a big deal. Is she a WWE Hall of Famer? Yes. Absolutely. I think she is. She is an incredible talent, but they don't need her. And I feel like she's constantly playing games on social media. And I don't know. I know that a lot of you are massive Sasha Banks fans and vehemently disagree with me, but that's how I feel about her. As far as AJ Lee, I think we would have seen her in the Rumble, but at the same time, when she does return and Punk is healthy again, I think you're going to see at some point a Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee and CM Punk matchup at like a SummerSlam or something. That would be awesome. So do I think AJ Lee is eventually going to return? Yes, but it'd probably be on a short-term basis. Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy? Sure. I mean, Buddy Murphy, obviously the relationship with Rhea Ripley is there. Aleister Black, I don't know his contract status, so I can't comment on that. But MJF, I would love to say yes. If he does, it's WrestleMania. At WrestleMania or the Monday Night Raw after. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. But I'm saying if that's the stage you do it. Thanks, Liam. Let's continue. Let's see. We have Gary. And Gary says, the Rumble was the definition of a lunch bag letdown. Other than the women's match, which was actually entertaining, the rest was just bad. Even worse, after looking forward to WrestleMania 40 possibilities leading up to the Rumble, WrestleMania is now looking to be a huge letdown already. Brock being pulled from the Rumble lineup didn't help, but even that wouldn't have saved it. No surprises, no legend, topped off with Cody winning, and Roman winning the same boring way as he always does. Is just lazy booking. And I'm 100% with you. I don't know why Chelsea Green doesn't get more love. She's always entertaining as heck. Almost like the female version of R-Truth. Too bad Sonya Deville got hurt and derailed that team. No disrespect to the legend Truth. Just saying he's super entertaining without even considering the wrestling. Not a bad wrestler either, to be honest. Takes bumps like a champ. Okay, well, I mean, I've already commented on the Cody winning thing, so I'm not going to repeat again. But Brock being out does suck. I've talked about that too. It does suck. I understand that there's litigation going on, and I understand that, you know, that's obviously more important than WWE had no choice but to pull him. But it does suck as a fan not to have him there. And it did hurt the overall feeling of the Rumble. No big stars return. That's kind of mind-blowing, really. And as far as WrestleMania being a letdown, I mean, let's let the cards fall where they may. I mean, let's we don't even have any matchups yet. I mean, we don't have anything confirmed, right? I mean, it's probably Bayley, Io. We'll decide that tonight. Maybe we get Cody confirming with Roman tonight. So there you go. You might have your two main events right there for the men's and women. But we have no idea where Seth Rollins is going to land if it's not with Cody. We don't know where Gunther's going to land. Does it one-on-one with Jey Uso? What about Logan Paul and LA Knight? And LA Knight winning. That would be a hell of an accomplishment, a hell of a victory. What about The Rock Roman somehow? Right? What about, I know no one's talking about it, but what about a Stone Cold Steve Austin appearance? That's always exciting. Brock obviously is not going to be there. You know, what about the tag team action, the tag team divisions? You know, you have probably an R-Truth, an Awesome Truth versus the Judgment Day tag team matchup at WrestleMania. So there are a lot of good things going on. It's just that the main event picture is so confusing, or rather frustrating, that it does seem to be a bit down because we're just so in the fog. So, all right, thanks, Gary. Where are we going here? I don't want to, let's talk to Nick. Tom and Nick from Eugene. And Nick says, hey, Matt, just wanted to touch on two topics. With just a few short weeks before WWE heads to Perth, it's time to fantasy book the chamber matches. On the women's side, it looks like the number one contendership for the world title and Ripley's challenger at Mania is up for grabs. Since Nia will likely be facing Rhea at, but not in the chamber, I would love to see Becky joined by Bianca, Naomi, Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, and Chelsea Green. Yes. Please put Chelsea. Can we start a petition? Like one of those, I don't know, whatever you call them online, like those online petitions that constantly go around. Yes. Chelsea Green, please. I know that one is a long shot, but they need somebody who can take bumps and be the first one eliminated, and she proved in the Rumble she can do that. Obviously, book Becky for the win. Yes, and here's the funny thing with Chelsea. Obviously, I mean, I'm a big fan. You're a big fan of Chelsea Green. It's almost like her character moves forward when she loses so quickly. It's bizarre. It's almost like she becomes more endearing and she gets more attention when she has no offense and just gets ragdolled around and then complains to management. It's so crazy that someone's actually moving forward by constantly losing and getting almost no offense. I love it. I don't know how long of a plan this is going to be, or rather the sustainability of that strategy, but it's working right now. On the men's side, I'll assume it'll be for the contendership for the world title. and Seth's opponent for WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre will win, beating a field of Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Dom. What about... you have Tom. What about Nick? Anyway, R-Truth and LA Knight, who will move to Raw when Cody transitions to SmackDown for the run-up to Mania. Ooh, okay. But what about LA Knight and Logan Paul? You know? I mean, I'm not against this. It's just, I don't know if LA Knight coming to Raw just to lose would make sense, because then what do you do with LA Knight on Raw? Challenge for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship? Maybe, I guess, right? Second thing, without a legacy act needed in the Women's Rumble, WWE has proven to have a lot of depth in the division, especially with the returns of Liv and Naomi, Jade's debut, and soon the emergence of the top NXT roster with Roxanne Perez, Tiffany Stratton, and Lyra Valkyrie. I don't know, I can't say her last name. With so much talent, do you think it's time to introduce a mid-card belt for the women? Something like the US or IC title, but with its own fresh name. There are about 10 women regularly in the conversation for the top 2 belts, and plenty of others that could make for some great storylines with more gold on the line. I would love to see women like Chelsea, Zelina, or Zoe Stark be rewarded. With a plethora of talent that have been forced to make all these odd couple pairings seem, or to keep the tag team division alive. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks. Tom and Nick from Eugene. I see what you did there. Okay. As far as introducing a mid-card title to the women, I'm not as against it as I was. I mean, there was a time not too long ago, even like last year, that I have been completely opposed to it, because adding another belt, no matter it's the men or women division, you are inherently making titles mean less. Not by a lot, but when there's more of something, that means it's worth less. Also, when you introduce a championship, that would increase the chances that every feud that goes on is about a championship instead of a personal issue. Now, I have nothing against championships, but sometimes matchups and programs are hurt by championships being involved. That's not the exception, or I'm sorry, that's not the rule, but rather the exception, but it can happen. And it's nice to see personal issues sometimes over just something about a championship. So, I'm not opposed to it. If I was to make a decision, I would still say not yet, but we're getting closer. So that's what I would say at this moment. We're not there yet, but we're creeping closer. Once WWE really starts to hone in and consistently make the women's tag team belts feel important and give it time on Raw or SmackDown, then I might be more open to it. But also, I think the women just need more time on the show. So not yet, but we're walking in that direction, if that makes sense to me. So, you can reward stars without actually having a championship. If you, like you said, if you want to reward those that are doing a nice job, then you can get them victories, right? Like you can have them in great matchups and getting a string of victories under their belt. I know that doesn't equate to an actual physical victory of a physical item to represent that victory, like a mid-card title, but there is something to be said about, getting a lot of airtime, having great matchups, and continuing to rack up the W's. So my answer is short and sweet. Not yet, but we're getting there for a mid-card belt for the women. So thank you, Tom and Nick, both of you from Eugene. Alrighty. We don't have too many more. I know we've got one that has a terrible take. I'll save that for the end. That'll be the main event here. Let's talk to Marcus. Or MJ rather, from Australia. Grayson Waller's biggest fan. Amazing work, continuing to bring us content so many hours a week. Really appreciate you and the team. Well, thank you for listening. I was floored by the WrestleMania chamber booking chaos the past week. Keen to get your thoughts on what I think might happen from here. Roman is going to Hogan's number before he loses. If I was a betting man, I would agree. Because, as I've said, WWE is just going to grin and bear it and take it on the chin from fans who continue to complain, like myself, about this the formula of Roman's run, the formula of his matches, how little he's there. All of these are legitimate complaints, by the way. Don't ever let WWE try to minimize these complaints that are completely legitimate and significant. And Michael Cole tried to battle back, and he did a very poor job of it, knocking back at fans at the Royal Rumble with very, very weak arguments, and arguments that really we're not even trying to make, saying that fans want Roman to compete every week or put his belt on the line every week. No, we don't. No one wants that. No one's asking for that, Cole. And by the way, guys, I know a lot of you corrected me that I made complaints that Michael Cole had his math wrong with Austin being the last one to go back-to-back 26 years ago. I was doing it from his last Rumble win of 2001 when he faced The Rock at WrestleMania 17. But you're correct that the last back-to-back was 26 years ago. So I guess I misinterpreted what Cole said. So Cole was correct. My math was wrong because I was thinking of 2001, not 98 to 99. So anyway, moving on. Or rather, 97 and 98. 1999, Vince McMahon actually won with Austin as the runner-up. So he almost won 3 in a row. Okay. So as far as, again, Roman, I think they're going to go there. I think they're just going to say, screw it. We've got a world title that they can hang on to. The fans are used to it after 3.5 years. We're just going to go for it and say, to hell with everything else, because we are not going to get another opportunity to do this in our lifetimes. A run like this is literally once in a lifetime. Screw it. We're doing it. Now, again, what they think they're going to gain from this, I don't know. What do they think they're going to get a documentary together that's going to blow the minds of fans and bring in sponsorships and create all this revenue? Like, well, what do they think they're gaining from this? I don't know, outside of moving Roman up to beat Hogan. Okay. People aren't going to think of Hogan any differently. They aren't going to think of Roman any differently. So I understand that they just look at that number and just go, screw it, tunnel vision, we're doing it. And it also would be, I think, it would benefit them if that's their goal, to put Cody and Seth together, because Cody can win at WrestleMania. You put The Rock with Roman. You know The Rock's not winning the belt, so Roman beats The Rock at WrestleMania. And he continues his streak. He doesn't have a match till SummerSlam. That's what he did last year. You guys remember? He beat Cody Rhodes in the same formulaic match we've seen for years, with interference, spear, 1, 2, 3. And then he disappeared and didn't have a match until SummerSlam. That's inexcusable, but it's how they've continued to rack up these months at a time. All right. Drew wins the Chamber. I have no problem with that. Cody and Drew both want Seth at WrestleMania. I mean, I guess you could do a triple threat. I wouldn't hate that either. Then, I mean, you could do that. I don't hate that. Seth versus Cody versus Drew at WrestleMania. Yeah, again, yes. Rock versus Reigns at WrestleMania. I would say yes. You get the dream match. You also get Reigns continuing his reign. And you get Roman, that much closer to beating Hogan's record, which for some reason is just the end-all, be-all, got to get to it at all costs, which is a massive mistake by WWE, but what do I know? Cody wins the world title. Yep, I agree. Gets his first huge WrestleMania moment, but then says that he was wrong and his story is never going to finish. And hopefully everyone who has been using the story finishing promos will finally stop. Well, it's, again, the most overused phrase in a long time is this finish your story garbage. And I wish it was never said. But, I also think that when Cody wins, he's going to say, this whole time I was focusing on, this is his victory speech at the Raw after WrestleMania. This whole time I looked at winning the championship as the end of my story. But what I realized last night is that it's just the beginning of a new one. And yes, I put the lisp in because that's exactly how he talks. So it's not mocking. It's exactly how he speaks. So for those of you that are annoyed by it, I'm speaking as Cody speaks. But that's exactly what he's going to say. So get ready for by the way, at least a year plus run with Cody. unless he gets hurt. Gunther beats Cody at the Rumble 2025, and Cody turns heel. Hell yeah. Bring on Cody as a heel. Meanwhile, Roman turns babyface in late 2024. Cody beats Roman for the title at WrestleMania 41, then tells everyone in a heel way that he's finally finished his story. He doesn't need to defend it very often, especially because Roman didn't. Okay. Yeah, you want to go that road with Cody? Bring it on, man. Punk wins the Rumble in 2025 and beats Gunther at WrestleMania 41 for the world title. Redemption story for Punk after this year's heartbreak due to injury. Punk turns heel sometime later, and LA Knight wins the world title at SummerSlam in 2025 in LA. Wow, you have really booked this out, MJ. It's not him. I mean, it's all sound logic to me. I mean, you have a lot of heel turns, I got to say. You have Punk turning heel. You have Cody turning heel. So you got to have baby faces to balance that out. Maybe Gunther turns babyface, right? But I don't hate any of this, but I do think that when Punk wins, they'd rather see Punk and Rollins than Punk and Gunther, just because it'd be the right way to finish what they were started here for Punk and Rollins, that they will be able to finish at WrestleMania 41 next year. But really good stuff, MJ. Thank you. Okay, we're getting closer here. Okay, I think maybe, do I dare say it is time? It's time to get to... Again, I haven't really read this, so it's all kind of in the moment. Let's get to Jamie. All right, Jamie. The subject of this email, by the way, is terrible takes. Let's go. All right, Jamie says, I've been a long-time listener, and after listening to Anthony on the last show, I had to turn it off. His takes on Cody Rhodes are terrible. He constantly, for now 2 years, says he's going to be booed. Wrong. He doesn't deserve his position. Wrong. Proven by the fact he's the top merchandise seller in the company for the whole of 2023, outselling Roman. Okay. I'll stop there. I know Anthony's not here to defend himself, but here's what I will say. No one is saying that right now Cody's going to get booed. We're saying he should be, but not that he is going to be. The fans have been very supportive. Neither him or I have said, oh, he's going to get booed. No, we have been very forthright of the fact that we know we're in the minority and that the continued support for Cody doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. But we would boo him, absolutely, and we feel like the fans should, absolutely. Now, if your qualification for someone who doesn't deserve or does deserve their position is based on merch sales, well, then I'd be careful with that logic, because if that were the case, wouldn't you have put R-Truth in the main event? R-Truth for weeks was a top seller in the company, right? So you can't always use that as the metric, because it's not always going to be someone that they have in the main event also corresponds with the person that's a top selling merchandise figure in the company. So like that's by far not the only metric. It can be a kind of it can tell you what's hot right now, but that changes with the wind. You know, like R-Truth for several weeks he's going to get a several $100,000 likely royalty check from WWE for all the merch he's sold and all the t-shirts with Tom and Nick Mysterio. And good for him. But I'm sorry, that's not a valid metric to use for someone who deserves or doesn't deserve their position, is how much merch they sell. It's just an indicator of what's hot at the moment. That's it. Okay. Plus, the negativity, most stuff the WWE does, why does he even watch? WWE is in a boom period, breaking records everywhere. His clear bias and shocking booking decisions. Well, here's the thing. I will admit that we tend to focus on Cody Rhodes and Roman and the main event scene in our current state every week. That somehow just devolves into that type of discussion. And a lot of it is frustration with the Cody Rhodes babyface character. And I don't think that it's unfair if we and he genuinely feels that the Cody Rhodes character sucks. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But there's been a lot of compliments from Gunther to Jey Uso, okay, to LA Knight, to the tag team division, right now, especially on the Raw side of things, and the women's side as well. When you look at the women's division, we had a lot of good to say when it came to the Women's Royal Rumble, although it was very clunky, and we commented on that. The Jade Cargill debut. I would agree that if you only listen to the negative parts, you're going to feel like that's all that we feel is it's a terrible product. But maybe we should expand what we talk about, and it won't feel like it's so negative. So let's continue. By the way, what bias? Shocking booking choices. You're going to have to explain. What do you mean shocking booking decisions? What shocking booking decisions? You're going to have to, literally, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what's shocking. But also bias. Bias against who or what? Everyone's biased. Just by being a human being, you're biased against something. Bias in and of itself is not a bad thing. I'm biased against people that are, people that like to and want to kill someone, right? I'm biased against murderers. Is that a bad thing? Right? So my point is bias against what? Thank God he doesn't book wrestling. He would run the company into the ground within a month. Okay. Well, again, evidence. He wanted Roman to lose the title at Royal Rumble to Orton. It's just mind blowing. He would waste the Roman Reigns title reign on a guy that's already a legend. Well, you're telling me that Randy Orton winning, why is that a bad choice? And who exactly, by the way, would be a good choice that you feel would be not wasting Roman Reigns' title reign? Randy Orton winning. Randy Orton is a legend, but he's also never looked better ever. Randy Orton is more than capable. This isn't Hulk Hogan coming in and winning a belt. This is Randy effing Orton, who has got several years left in him, never looked better. I understand he's already a legend. But who exactly do you think? And you'd probably say Cody Rhodes. But why is it such a bad thing if Randy Orton was to win there? The crowd would have loved it. And I would argue the crowd is at the point where they don't even care who it is anymore. They just want the belt off of him. I think that's more of the point too. Not that only Randy Orton is a credible opponent, but also the general fan base, I think, is ready to just take the belt off of Roman at all costs. We don't care who it is. The idea that whoever Roman Reigns drops it to is either going to be made or broken is long gone at this point. It's just get the belt off of him. I actually think that when Roman drops the belt, the story will be more about Roman dropping the belt than who won it. Because Roman has been the focus for so long that when he loses it, it's a big deal. Sure, the person who wins it will get some attention, but I think people will be more interested to hear from Roman Reigns after his title loss when it does happen than the person who won it and their victory speech. I would argue strongly on that. The smart choice, which is what they are seemingly doing, is having a guy who's going to be the face of the company beat Roman. Okay, so again, you're describing Cody Rhodes. But also, someone can be the face of the company without beating Roman Reigns. So, yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea, but it also is sometimes hard to identify who's going to be the face of the company. It has to just kind of happen organically, and in some ways, Cody Rhodes has ascended to that position. I don't know how. So, I'm not against Cody beating Roman. I understand why people want him to. All right, last point. The Rock versus Roman does not need the title. All right, first thing we agree on. It is about who is the head of the table. The title dilutes that. Agreed. Rock versus Roman will be WrestleMania 41 with a year-long build like Cena versus Rock was. Well, yeah, okay, so you saved the last two lines here for something I actually agree with, which is fine. And I'm not trying to be combative, Jamie. This is actually fun, okay? Because we don't get a whole lot of emails that people just, especially with a title that says terrible takes. I love it. I genuinely love the back and forth kind of debate. It's fun. So I appreciate that. And I would agree with you here again with The Rock. Roman doesn't need the belt. I've been very clear about that. And as well as they want to build it a year long, I guess they could, but there's a lot you're going to sacrifice in that year, And it also makes you wonder, does Roman Reigns then keep the belt to WrestleMania 41 if they're going to do Rock and Roman Reigns? Does The Rock say he's coming after that championship? And if he does, that means that it's going to be at WrestleMania 41, which means we've got another year of Roman Reigns as champion. You see how this all works? You know what I mean? At that point, it'll be 4.5 years with him as champion. Half a decade? No thanks. Oh boy. All right, Jamie, thank you. I appreciate the honesty. I do. All righty. That will do it here for the emails. So it's time to get to those voicemails finally. So let's get to them right now.
Podcast world. This is DJ Kuzma back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record to you live on a Wednesday morning, on a very chilly Wednesday morning, it looks like it's snowing or sleeting. I don't know what is going on outside, but hopefully it doesn't stick on the ground. But let's get to your favorite show to come in every single week on the Mailbag, and I'm talking about the Veer Mahan Report. Now, the Veer Mahan Report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, live from Tampa, Florida. This time I double checked, I quadruple checked, and triple checked, and all the other checks to find out if the Indus made an appearance. And from the looks of it, they did not make an appearance on Monday Night Raw. Maybe Matt, on your review, maybe you could correct me on that, but I didn't see any highlights. I didn't see any notices in all of the other blogs, like Cage Size Blog and Bleacher Report and CBS Sports. I didn't see any mention of the Indus. But whatever the case may be, I want to see what happens next week. I want to see what happens going forward on the road to WrestleMania with the Indus. Surprisingly, none of my guys were in the Rumble, so I don't know what's going on with that picture, but I'm focusing on the road to WrestleMania. Maybe they're inside some sort of tag team fatal four-way at WrestleMania. I don't want to jump the gun here, but why not? Why not my guys of Veer Mahan and Sangha challenge none other than the Undisputed Tag Team Champions in some sort of fatal four-way with all of the other tag teams on Monday Night Raw. But whatever the case may be, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends, and peace.
Yeah, DJ, I think you hit it on the head. That they're probably going to be involved, you would think, in some kind of fatal four-way, fatal six-way, I don't know, for the Undisputed Tag Team titles at WrestleMania, but I also think that it's very possible it's one-on-one with the Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth at WrestleMania, and that leaves the Indus in a battle royal, like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's, I hate to say it, but that kind of seems where they're headed and where they're slotted. I mean, they go from being featured in the main event in a world title match, getting camera time in a world title match, main eventing Raw, to disappearing again. I mean, they are magicians at disappearing. And it's not obviously on them, it's on creative. I don't know how they don't have them in the title pick, the world undisputed tag team title picture. I don't know how they don't have them in there. They're a hell of a tag team. Jinder Mahal is, I mean, you saw what he can do on the microphone, get mega heat. I'm more of a Jinder Mahal fan than I think a lot of people listening to the show outside of you, DJ. I love Jinder Mahal. I shouldn't say I love him. I think he's underrated and underappreciated. So I don't know what they're doing with the Indus. I don't know why they're playing games with this disappearing act. They show up for 5 seconds and then they leave. Then they're in the main event and then they leave. I have no clue. It's frustrating because I can see the potential there, but apparently WWE either doesn't see the same thing or is undervaluing what they're capable of. But thanks, DJ. Now, I was just about to play a voicemail from Sharon from Israel. So Sharon, I got your voicemail. I can listen to it, but it sounds like your microphone. I don't know what, I would imagine you use your phone to record and send to us. Whatever you were using, there was something rubbing up against the mic that made the whole voicemail unlistenable. Like I can hear your voice, but it sounds, and this is not a fun sound to listen to, but it sounded like this the whole time. Like rubbing against the mic the whole time. And you in the background. So I can't play your voicemail, so send it in. Maybe we'll get it on Sunday or next Wednesday's mailbag. But I wanted to let you know I'm not ignoring it. It's just I can't play it on the show. So that's all. So I apologize, but it's just can't. But all right, let's get to our next voicemail. I think this is Alex, the French guy. Let's see what he's got to say.
Alex, the French guy here, your current European champion, WWE. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm sending this voicemail just after seeing Royal Rumble. I've seen during the day here in France. Come on, man. What is that? I mean, the pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, was average at best. And the best match was the Women's Royal Rumble. This match was really fire. A lot of returns. Unexpected entry. TNA champion from the TNA division entry. But man, Bailey, that's the right choice. I completely agree with that. But come on. Fatal 4-Way with Roman Reigns was average at best. Predictable. Royal Rumble of the men. Cody Rhodes. I said it to you. Beginning of the year, you will finish the story. You have 15 years left to finish the story. Rock has only 1 or 2 years to write this story. WWE, you are playing with us. You are playing with me. The Rock, you are playing with me. Last year on the WWE podcast, I said by Royal Rumble, if I don't have the absolute confirmation that this storyline will happen, I will concede this idea that Roman Reigns will face The Rock at some point. Why do you tease us at the beginning of the month? Why do you do that? False hope. I hate that. Secondly, in France, there's also some podcaster that they are saying that, Cody Rhodes winning is the right idea. I completely disagree. The Rock is best for business, is best for writing the story. I mean, this is completely the bad idea. And Cody Rhodes, I like Cody Rhodes, but I hope that he loses at WrestleMania, because now it is so predictable to say that Cody Rhodes will win at WrestleMania. So that's maybe the only upside, is that the outcome at WrestleMania is unpredictable. But a very angry French guy. Bye, guys.
A lot of passion and fire. I love it. I love it, Alex. So, The Rock, you're going to concede the idea. Well, again, he teased us, but how often does WWE tease us and not deliver? Why would The Rock tease us like that, knowing exactly what that means and what that implicates? And then they just say, no, we're not doing it. I don't think they would not do that. Rock Roman is happening. It is happening. Whether people like it or not, it's going to happen either at this year's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or next year's WrestleMania. It is happening. Don't care if anyone doesn't believe me. You don't tease something like that and not deliver. That is a bad strategy from a business perspective, but you're right. If we're talking about business, there is no bigger match than Rock Roman. You can debate all day, not you, Alex, but the Cody supporters, all day until you're blue in the face, that Cody Rhodes makes more sense to face Roman Reigns because it's more of a threat to his title. And you're absolutely right. But here's the bigger point. I'm a company that's trying to make money. What's a bigger match? What's a match that'll make more money for me? Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns or Rock versus Roman Reigns? Let's see. The Rock is the biggest star literally in the world. He brings more eyeballs to the product. Tough, right? And I understand that Cody would be, if he was to face Roman Reigns, be predictable to win. But last year we got an unpredictable outcome and people were angry. So this year you're going to get a predictable outcome and also be angry. It's like, well, WWE would say, well, which way do you want it? Do you want something that is the right decision, but it's predictable, or something that's the wrong decision, but unpredictable? You know what I mean? Like, we're never happy either way. We're fickle fans. But, The Rock Roman Reigns, it's a money match. It's a match that would be a needle mover. It would get national news attention. I'm not even kidding you. It would probably be featured on some sports segment on NBC News or CBS or something. It's a big deal. You think Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns would get that kind of exposure? No. So I would totally agree. It's a match that needs to happen. It's a match that you don't tease and not deliver on. And WWE, to their credit, oftentimes, almost every time, delivers on the things they tease, unless an injury happens or something catastrophic. So this was a blatant tease. It wasn't just something talked about off camera on Pat McAfee's podcast. No. This was something done on WWE television during the show, not off camera, not after the show. You can't do this and not deliver. You just can't. So there. Thank you, Alex. Next voicemail. Here we go.
Hey, Matt, Brad in Florida. So, on the Royal Rumble, weird. I mean, honestly, that's the first word that comes to mind. I have no problem with the results. I just think how they got there was a little weird. Everything seemed a little bit off. Even the entrances of the men and women coming into the Royal Rumble, like, for instance, like Liv Morgan, like she didn't even look excited or happy. Katana Chance, she comes out there like looking totally clueless on the ramp. Everyone just kind of had this weird, like, glazed look in their eye, except for really Jade Cargill and a couple others that I kind of recall. There was just this kind of weird, I don't know, vibe to it. I don't know how to really describe it. Cody winning, totally fine with that, but I think just how they got there with him versus Punk at the end. Again, not a surprise that it was him versus Punk at the end, but I think the thing that was like a little, I guess odd was that the crowd didn't really know who to cheer for in a lot of ways because a lot of people cheering for both or whatever. I mean, last year when Cody beat Gunther, it was really a good versus bad type of situation. But, this year was a little different. Braun Breaker was incredible. Chelsea Green was incredible. Jade Cargill was incredible, though. Randy Orton in that Fatal 4-Way really went out with a whimper. I am really surprised. He just kind of got knocked off the apron, and then, like, Reigns was, like, all of a sudden pinning Styles. Like, it was just, I thought Randy would play a bigger role or factor into the outcome of that match at the end, and he was just gone, man. Like, I don't know, man. There was something weird about it. Other than that, I did think the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens match was good. I really thought it was a pretty compelling ending, even though it ended wonky. I think that's okay. I think it was good, and interesting. And man, that's about it, man. Oh, by the way, the camera, the Kevin Dunn who's missed. Trust me, man, they're missing a lot of good angles. I'm telling you. You watch the broadcast of these things, they are really screwing up. They're hitting things from the wrong angle. They're missing big shots. Even when Bayley eliminated Liv at the end, they missed a good angle there. So, take care, man. I'm up against the limit, but yeah, later.
Hey, Brad. Good to hear from you, buddy. Hope you're doing well down there in Florida, enjoying the warmer weather in this winter season. And so the camera angles, look, Kevin Dunn, obviously very talented in his position, but he's viewed as a Vince guy. And they want all the Vince McMahon-ness to leave the company. I think it's very clear. They're literally now trying to erase Vince McMahon from WWE history, which good luck from that. I mean, you can't untie Vince and WWE with all the footage that's there, all the commentary. I mean, just good luck. It's interwoven in the fabric. It's not going to happen, but they're trying. Now, as far as your comments about the camera angles, number one, but also, I also enjoyed the fact that they showed at the top of the screen from time to time the amount of time everyone's been in the Rumble, like the top 5 people and what their times are as they continue to compete in the Rumble. That was a nice kind of sports feel that I don't think you would have got from Kevin Dunn. So Kevin Dunn, who wanted nothing to do with pro wrestling and everything to do with pretending he's an entertainment TV show and staying away from the wrestling sports aspect, that would not have been there if Kevin Dunn was there. So there's that. But also, yeah, they'll get better with the camera angles. I'm not worried about it. It's one night. I don't think it took away too much from the show. But like you said, everyone did have kind of a malaise about them. Some people did. It was this, it did have a weird is a good word for the entire show. It was just weird. Yeah, I would agree. And that's why I felt it was like a 6 out of 10. I'm like, there was no big returns. It didn't feel like a normal Rumble feels. And yeah, it was kind of weird. I totally agree. And Cody winning, obviously, I have no problem with that either. But having him and Punk together at the end, I don't think was the worst decision. I mean, there's nothing wrong with babyface. It forces the fans to battle with each other for a little bit. And it didn't mean anything. They weren't going to turn on one another after the match. They were both going to go their separate ways. Punk was supposed to face Rollins and Cody was supposed to probably face Roman Reigns, and that's not happening now. So, yeah, I mean, like that happens. Mega babyface versus mega babyface. Hey, let's see. And I think that's also a good litmus test for WWE to see who the fans at the end of the day would support. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But thank you, Brad. I appreciate your comments, and let's finish it up with one more.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So that's what I talk about, the Rumble from Saturday. I thought it was good for the most part. Was it the perfect show in the world? It was good. I want to go back to, I was to your review for the Rumble and stuff about Becky, how she just feels kind of had no factor into her performance. I agree. I don't know what they're doing with Becky right now. I don't know what they're not doing anything with Becky in an incredible way. So that's kind of a little concerning somewhat. Hopefully, like I said last week, she was able to get bounced back from it when she starts feuding with Rhea, I would hope, but we'll see. But in terms of Bayley winning the Rumble, I thought it was good for her. It's a good time. It is a good moment for her to finally face, Io at WrestleMania, get that moment for her. And so it's going to be weird because I'm an Io fan. So personally, I want Io to retain. She may not, but we'll see. Looking forward to that feud in general between Io and Bayley. But, so I enjoyed that. I didn't like Cody Rhodes winning. I just think it's just Cody Rhodes being presented like John Cena in some respect. That's how WWE is presenting, Cody Rhodes, but he's getting cheered, and Cena was getting booed. So, but that's what Cody Rhodes is presented as, and I think it's a little pathetic, a little bit. I don't know what people see in Cody Rhodes still. I mean, he's a great wrestler, but it's just everything about Cody Rhodes. It seems like they're shoving it down people's throat, and if he does it, he needs to win the championship at WrestleMania at this point, because now he won the Rumble twice. He's gonna have to win the championship, because if not, what a waste of time. Get it behind this guy. You put the cover on your video game, and you don't have him as a world champion, and people want him as champion, and yet they shoved him down people's throats somewhat. So he's gonna have to win the title from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and move on, so we could have some new stories. We could have Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. That's something I could get behind. So let's just see something fresh with the Universal Championship picture on SmackDown. So that's my quick thoughts on the Rumble itself, and that's it. Thanks for the call. Bye.
Kyle, well, so you're in the minority with me, so welcome to the island of minority as far as the opinion on Cody Rhodes' character. I mean, you kind of answered your own question, though. You said that you don't know why people like him, but he's a great wrestler. So I think some people look at that and do like him because of him being a really good wrestler. And he is a really good wrestler. He is. You and I don't like his babyface character, but I think that's really the isolation of it. Like, if you want to isolate our issue down with Cody, it's just that fact that his babyface character is vomit-inducing. It is like Hulk Hogan on steroids, I guess, pun intended. Like the goody two-shoes version of Hulk Hogan, the goody two-shoes version of John Cena on steroids. It is just, it's so soft and he's trying to be too much just like one of us. And he's trying, except, I think it comes off phony, but that's my own personal opinion. And I think also people look at him and he isn't larger than life when it comes to him being like bigger than everybody else, right? So he does look more like the common man, although the common man doesn't bleach blonde his hair. I mean, no one's done that since 2002 when NSYNC was relevant. So there is the human element that people relate to, on top of the fact that there's the sympathetic version of, oh, daddy died, right? Oh, daddy, do it for your dad, do it for dad. Like, I'm tired of hearing about that, but that continues to come up. So people have their heartstrings pulled with that. And let's be honest, the fact that the fans kind of chose him. WWE didn't start shoving him down our throat until the fans decided that they wanted him shoved down our throats. I mean, I actually have to side with WWE here. I mean, you look at this, and Cody Rhodes, throughout his entire return to the company from WrestleMania 2 years ago, has been cheered and supported loudly. There hasn't been really any measurable decline in his support from fans. So it's not like the fans had initially been kind of hesitant, like they were with Roman Reigns and John Cena at first, and all of a sudden WWE's like, we're going to start pushing them and see what happens. The fans took him in immediately. And only over the last 6 to 12 months have they decided that they're going to make him the face of the company, with putting him on the cover of 2K, making him in like every promotional video, making him responsible on air somehow for Jey Uso coming over and all these political decisions. And he's going to SmackDown with no discernible reason why he's there, right? Like, the fans kind of did this. If the fans had started booing him or turned on him or just stopped responding to him, I don't think he'd be in this position. So this is kind of on the fans. Usually WWE decides it, and then they just, then it's a war of attrition with the fans in WWE. We've seen that over the years many times, most prominently with Roman Reigns for like 8 years with his big dog character, and Vince is shoving and kicking him down our throat, like jumping with both feet and saying, you're going to eat this and like it. And the fans are like, no, we don't. And it's not that, though. It's not resistance from the fans. Most fans are there with open arms, both arms open, standing there, embracing Cody Rhodes. So you and me and others, we're in the minority. And I recognize that. And I understand why people like him. If you're asking why, he is very good on the microphone. He does, on some level, seem relatable to most fans. He seems like a genuine person outside of wrestling. He does have the heartstring of daddy dying and I'm doing this for my dad thing. Like I get that. So there are reasons why people like him, on top of the fact that he's the first major star to move back to WWE from AEW. So there's all that stuff. And you put that together, and the fact that he had failed gimmicks before and he is not brand new to WWE, and the fans that have followed him in AEW and then came back, like, you add all that up and it seems to work. And he does put on really good matches. So that's why people like him. I think that's why people like him. And on top of the fact, it doesn't also hurt that his song, his entrance music is very catchy. And it is. Despite what I think about his babyface character, it is very catchy. That obviously helps him. So that's the reason why Cody Rhodes is, I think, beloved by the fans. And he's probably going to become champion one way or the other at WrestleMania. Whether he faces Roman or he faces Cody, you can't have him lose twice, because you're right. The fans at some point are going to say, why am I investing my time when we have been disappointed time after time? Why are we being let down now? Like, what's the catch? What's the end game? What's so important? What's so big at the end of this reign for Roman that Cody Rhodes can't become champion now when he has literally already become the face of the company? They've been setting that table for a long time with all the things he's done over the last year, with, obviously 2K24 most recently, and being everywhere all the time. So, all right, well, that'll do it. Thank you, everybody. This was this particular part was only 1 hour, but the last show was an hour. So this is over a 2-hour voicemail, or rather mailbag for you guys. And I'm glad I was able to get to all of them. If I missed someone, I really apologize. I tried to really get to everybody, and continue to send those emails in. If I have to do part 1, part 2, it's just the way it's going to be. But if you want your emails read at the beginning, like in part 1, Patreon's the way to go. It also gets you everything ad-free. Apple Podcasts, being a subscriber, gets you everything ad-free. Going and being a supporter on Spreaker, that really does help us as well. Spreaker has been a great partner with our show. They're promoting our show for free right now, and I really appreciate them. So you want to support myself and Spreaker? Go over to Spreaker. And if you're a Spreaker fan, they have their own app. Hit the supporter button, and you not just support the show, you get something out of it, because you get the exclusive After Dark show that actually I just released for this week over at Spreaker on the subscriber side of things, supporter side. But that show's also on Patreon if you become an NXT Plus subscriber and above. So lots of cool perks if you want to support the show and get all the stuff, all the ads removed. I know they're no fun. But thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll be back on Sunday for the Week in Review with co-host Chrissy. So if you guys missed Chrissy last time, she's back after a few weeks, and she'll be joined by her and blessed with her presence to talk about wrestling this coming Sunday night. So everybody, thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Take care. Talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.